Hey, everybody, welcome back to STR Unfiltered. I'm Bill Faith, your host. Let's get started. So, I don't know what your calendar looks like for September, October, November, maybe even December, January, and February. So, that's September, October, November, December, January. That's 5 months. February would be 6 months. That seems like a long ways away. But one of the things that I think is really important from a marketing perspective is that you have some advanced tactics to be able to implement. So if you're a newbie, this probably is not for you. I know a lot of us think we're advanced. Most of you probably are not. But one of the things that I have already started is I'm literally recording this the middle of August. I'm transitioning my properties out of summer mode into fall mode. And those are my lake properties, my Montana properties, my mountain properties. Beach, I'm leaving as is right now, but I always make some incremental small changes once kids go back to school because the psychology changes for parents. Those are our guests. Those are the ones that are booking for us, right? I mean, essentially, summer is over. There's people that are taking some last minute summer trips, but a lot of people now are in school mode. They get back into their normal routines. That also means that we have to try to reach them through different mediums, through different platforms and different channels. One of the things that is really important for me, you hear me talk a lot about Facebook ads. Facebook ads are the number one place to be able to move the needle and drive right along with email. Those are number one and number two. Email really, and it all depends on how good your copy is, how good your content is. That's really number one that I want you to understand. Facebook ads are not going to be your number one platform. Email marketing is not going to be your number one platform if you are not trying to benefit your consumer, your customer, your client, your guest. Let me say that one more time. If you are not trying to benefit them, right? If I come in here all day long on the podcast every time and try to sell you shit, you're going to stop listening. Man, that Bill, all he does is sell, 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 sell. I want to be known as the guy that gives more than any other coach in the industry. I want to be known as the guy that everybody copies what I do, like my boot camps, like, using building super properties. People are starting to use my terminology. I love that. But I want to be known as the guy that gives more than anybody else. I want to be known as the guy that's accessible, not just for you guys as a coach in this industry, but also as a host, right? So part of the marketing is the hospitality component. I want people to say, Bill, quit messaging me, quit texting me, quit calling me. A lot of you are afraid to send text messages to your guests outside of the time that they're staying with you. You're afraid to send emails too often because of the fact that you are afraid that somebody's going to unsubscribe or get mad at you. That is natural until you do it and you learn that if you create valuable content positioned to benefit your guest, benefit your client, benefit your customer, and not just sell, 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 they will keep reading. Look, I have, I don't know, 21, 22,000 hosts just like you on my email list. I send out emails on average, typically twice a week. And I don't sell as much as anybody else. I sell in my emails sometimes, there's no question. But I try to write long emails that are in detail and create value for you. There's a reason I get between 45 to 50% open rate. 18% is the average in our industry. 45 to 50% open rate. Now, as a host, I get about 78% open rate on my emails because I very rarely sell to them. I do leverage urgency. I do leverage exclusivity. I want you to write those two words down. If you're driving, I want you to emblazon these in the back of your head: exclusivity and urgency. There's a reason I sell out the largest conference in our industry super quickly. There's a reason I've sold out 32 boot camps in a row. There's a reason that I sell out almost every single thing that I do. One, because of the value and the trust, but two is because of exclusivity and urgency. I want to sell things out fast because that gives me the opportunity to let you know that, hey, last time I did this, it sold out in X days, X hours, whatever that is. The same thing moves. So when you look at exclusivity, it's like, hey, I've got this exclusive offer for you at ABC property in XYZ city, exclusive for you, one of my top guests that have stayed with us previously. This is not going out on TikTok. This is not going out on Instagram. This is just for you or for my top 10% of my guests. Make somebody feel good about what they're doing. Make somebody feel comfortable when you send them an email. Don't just say, hey, my cabin's available on these dates and it's got a hot tub and, that type of stuff. That doesn't interest them. That's making them feel really good. Look, I am a huge tipper. I mean, for probably since COVID started and the labor became so challenging, I've started tipping 50 to 100%. My wife and I had dinner in Banner Elk the other night, and I tipped 200% because I got great service. And our server, who's working part time at our favorite restaurant there, showed up just because we were on the reservation books. She ended up with 2 tables that night. We were one of them. $257 for dinner. I gave her a $500 tip because I appreciated her being there. What happens when you tip well is you get taken care of better than other customers. When you dine at a restaurant more often than somebody else, you get taken care of better. You get perks. At Del Frisco's Grill here in my hometown, I have our own booth, and they don't book anybody in our booth unless they're like super sold out. That's the Faith Family booth. We get preferential treatment. I can call in last minute and we can get a table. Like one time in 2.5, 3 years, I haven't gotten my booth. So that's because I take care of the people. Take care of your guests. Over communicate. People would rather deal with text messages than they would with email. Don't let your personal preferences get in the way. Now, here's for the advanced. If you're running Facebook ads, I talked about this in a story. I don't even think I did a reel about this. You need to know what a lookalike audience is. This all starts with, if we take a step back, is that hopefully you've been capturing emails. If you've been capturing emails from your guests and using StayFi, one, if you don't use StayFi, jump over to stayfi.com and get StayFi, because you're going to build your email list literally you'll build your email list X amount of times faster, and that X, you can fill that in with the number of rooms that you have in each property. So if you have a 4-bedroom, you're probably going to build your email list about 4 times faster. If you have 6 bedrooms, 6 times faster than if you would just taking that booker. So you'll get all the guests to be able to log into the majority of the guests, about 90%, will have to log in and give you an email address and a first name, last name. Even if you don't want to email these people, which you should, you can take them and upload them, export the list into a CSV file. That's an Excel spreadsheet, and then upload them into Facebook and your business manager, and let Facebook create what's called a lookalike list. Specifically, if you are in a national location where people are coming from all over, like Orlando. It's really easy for me in markets like Gatlinburg, and you draw a circle around it and you look at that 5-mile driving radius with 24 million people. I can target all these different cities inside of that area. But when you're in Vegas or you're in Orlando or these places that people are flying all over from, you want to target the entire United States. Well, what Facebook does with a lookalike list is they find all those people that match, and you can do it as tight as 1% to where you get a 99% match. Here's where people make a fundamental mistake. As they say, oh, I'm going to broaden this to 5%. That's still 95. It's way too broad. Stay inside that 1%. 99% match. 1%. Don't do 2, don't do 3, don't do 4, don't do 5. Because that's going to replicate the people on your list, your ideal buyers that have stayed with you. Then you can target the entire country. Start with 10 or 20 bucks a day. You don't need to go crazy. You don't need to start with $500 a day or $100 a day. But this is where you make your money. That lookalike list. I remember Sandeep was in my very first boot camp, and he's like, dude, that one thing was worth coming here. Nobody's ever talked about that before. That was over 2 years ago. My very first boot camp I did in this industry. Lookalike lists is one of, you don't have to do any targeting, and you are replicating your audience that you are targeting based on your guests that have already stayed with you. It doesn't get any tighter than that. It doesn't create any higher of a conversion than that. But yet nobody hears about lookalike lists. This is the first time I've ever really done this publicly, unless you come to one of my boot camps. And then I teach you exactly how to execute that, because there's nothing more powerful than lookalike lists in our perspective. If you are an arbitrager or you own in an urban downtown area and you're trying to target business travelers, you should do the exact same thing on LinkedIn. And then you go and you target travel managers and business travelers. You can go target the companies. Like if you're here in Nashville and you want to target all the healthcare, just target the companies. Target their salespeople, their executives, the travel managers. You can get all the way down by job description, which is absolutely insane. Just like I talk about the details when we're underwriting a property, the details when we're designing for our ideal buyer and thinking about the marketing opportunities in the future, these details that I'm talking about here are what make or break your marketing. This fall and winter, number one, you need to be focusing on marketing. You should be sending an email every 14 to 20 days, no less and no more. Every really 10 to 20 days. I'm sending an email about every 2 weeks. That means every 2 weeks I'm sending 24 emails in a year. There's 7 core emails in my Superhost library that if you want to just start with 7, instead of waiting and kind of spanning those out over a year, I would send those 7 in about 5 months through the slow season. The second thing is use that email list, upload into Facebook and create a custom audience and start running Facebook ads. I run Facebook ads every single freaking day, every day. And I actually run them to Airbnb. I run them to Vrbo. I also run them to my direct booking site. And people think, why the hell would you run them to Airbnb and Vrbo? Look, Airbnb and Vrbo rankings is based on popularity. It's that simple. Think about the things that you can do in your listing optimization to make your property more attractive. You want to be the prom queen. You want to be the captain of the football team. I don't care if you despise those two personas when you were in high school. That's who you want to be. Increasing your rankings is a popularity contest. The more people that we drive to our listing, the more people that click on our listing, the more people that book, the more reviews that we get, the more popular our listing becomes, the more bookings we get in return. That's why I drive traffic to them. And I see my average property, most of my properties I've leveled up, right? So it's not like I've had buy and hold since 2017 or 18. Don't have the original properties from 2015. I've leveled up. I started small like most of you, and I've continued to take equity and level up, take equity, level up. That's why I've built these super properties today. The average property that I have, probably my average property I've probably owned for maybe 2 years. I leveled all up in 2020, 2021 when the market was appreciating so fast. And my average property has over 1,100 hearts on it. 1,100 hearts. A lot of that has to do with the Follow Friday. I'm the original gangster for that as well in the Build Short-Term Rental Wealth Facebook group. Just come in and literally do a search for Follow Friday, and you'll see it's not 100 people. It's not even 600 or 800. We're talking 2,500 to 3,000 people posting listings and commenting and liking. You want to build hearts. You want to build traffic and drive traffic to your OTA sites because all this is a popularity contest. Focus on these things. These things move the needle for us from a financial perspective. If you're doing none of this, you need to start today. Notice I didn't talk a whole lot about social media. I didn't talk about a whole lot of other stuff outside of just these 3 things to move the needle this fall and this winter. If you need help, you don't know where to start, just do that right there. BillFaith73 on Instagram. That's Faeth. Bill Faith 73 on Instagram. DM me. I get a shit ton of DMs. I will get back to you as soon as I can, and I will help you get started. Thanks for joining me on this episode of STR Unfiltered. Have a great day, everybody, and happy hosting.